Welcome to another edition of our daily end of day price review, as well as the next day's forecast. Today, Thursday, we've seen a massive turnaround in the dollar as opposed to what I was looking out for yesterday. So quickly, let me just hover onto the H1 and then we go over what the expectation was for the Thursday and what actually happened. So remember, these levels are all from yesterday. This is an H4 level. I said I was looking for price to hit and then continue to take out the highs because this low here, this high here was the range I was looking at. This is the pullback. Everything here was mapped out and was on point. So price closed, and then I said I wanted to see if there's going to be any pullback. I want to see them stop here and then see a continuation. Indeed, price came, gave us the swing point, rallied, and then took out the previous day's high, and then rather failed. Now, so here's what I was looking at. When I saw the price failed here, I was looking at this low here. I wanted to see price react off of this low, and then during the New York session, perhaps the continuation of the move I was looking for would happen. But during New York, we saw price indeed came back for the low. So this low here failed to close above, and so this one became the target. We took it here, but as you can see, price closed below it. Now we had this H1 fair value gap to deal with, which was still good because price was now being held, or price had now gotten to the mean threshold of this small move here on the H1, but rather we had this. So what would we have done here? So when price gets here, this is where you begin looking for the pattern that says that price is ready to continue higher. So you just don't go in. So you can see that price took it out and then it kept rejecting, but it didn't make any move to come back to close above this, right? It just kept rejecting. This small portion of fair value gap also rejected price, and then finally we gave up the ghost. And so if you have a system that tells you that this is what you do when price does this, it will help you. That's the reason why we have rules. The rules will help you prevent losses. But unfortunately for me today, I had one of my accounts lost with funding pips because it was a hard breach of the daily drawdown. What I did was I disobeyed one of my entry rules, and then I went a little bit harder. And so I lost 5% on that single position, and it caused me to lose that account, which was a master account in profits. But well, we learn every day. So here we are. So price took that, gave us some consolidation, tried to, but failed, and then gave up the ghost, closed below that, retraced, and then where we are now. So let me go to the dailies and then see. Now this is what we have on the dailies. Remember, I have this level here from the daily that I was looking to see price bounce off of. And now price is closing way below the previous day's low and also below the fair value gap, right? So moving on to tomorrow. Now that price failed to respect this bullish PDRA, I am thinking that price, I do not know, but I am thinking that price will likely reach out for this and then also come back to retest this level one more time. If possible, that, right? These two levels. Unless price would disrespect this PDRA again and then trade to the other side of the um, chart, right? So we also have another one here, the fair value gap. That is where price stopped. And so we'll see how it goes from here, because every time a PDRA of some sort gets disrespected, it gets used as either resistance or support for the next move. And considering how we failed to go above this high, and then we are closing heavily below previous day's lows, and then also this bullish fair value gap, I really think that it is likely we would see this low and then if possible that low. But yes, we'll go back to the drawing board and then wait for our pattern to actually unfold. And this is where I would expect everything to happen on the H1. Right? The H1, perhaps something like that to attack this, and then if there's momentum, go for that, and then that cause of this swing failure, right? First target would have been to attack this, which is done. Price heavily closed. Now, price after attacking this low failed to close below, then I would have still applied this low to this high, this trading range for a continuation. But here's the case. Price actually disrespected all of the bullish arrays and closed below all of them, at least in the meantime. And so this is what I would look for on the H1 and perhaps the M15 for entry to attack Thursday's low, possibly this low, which would complete the market maker sell model, right? Let me go to EU. This is where we expected price. This is where price bounced off of yesterday, failed to go anywhere. And then we have seen a massive close above that same level. So I would love to see, just as a line on the dollar index, I would love to see the opposite happen on this one. Target would be this high, near term, this high, short term, and then ultimately this high, meaning we'll come back to test this level one more time, this fair value gap one more time. It's likely we'll come back to test this fair value gap one more time, right? So let's see the H4. We now have a new range, this low, this high, but I want to see the rejection from here, as we have and yet a short-term high here that has been broken. I would love to see the reaction here. So on the M1, sorry, the H1, you see this low hanging here. So the fair value gap on the M1, H1, which is supporting this inverted fair value gap on the dailies, right? So maybe some like this, take this one out, and then perhaps continue higher. This is actually what I'll be looking for. But then over here is where I would look for my entry pattern to take along if it shows up, right? Now let me take you through the trade that actually breached my account. I really had the opportunity to have turned it, but I didn't. Okay, so here's the thing. This one. So that I believe this was from yesterday. This is what I wanted. That exactly happened, but then we were expecting to see this. Right, but it went there and then didn't continue. Took out the previous day. Thursday took out the previous day, and then exactly as I was expecting it. And then so I was expecting price to take this high and then reject from there, right? So on the M15, this is where I went short. Yeah, when price, right? When price took this high out on this candle, that was where I went short. Usually, I would never do that. Why? Because it doesn't befit my rules. My rule would say, yes, let's hit it, but then let's wait for the pattern to show us. Let's wait for the breakdown and then we'll take it. But here I was all over myself. I accept that this loss is my own, uh, something that I shouldn't have done, much more prevented. And then later on, when I came, price was actually um, delaying. Like, I mean, it didn't really move as I expected it to, so I had the opportunity to close it. But I rather extended my stop loss, and then it exceeded the position I had on exceeded the single, then the amount of loss you can lose on a single, something like that. So you apparently you cannot lose up to 5% on a single position, and that's what happened here. So I breached the account. Right. So I have explained what I'm looking for. Let's see for this one if I can come up with something. Yes, we have this one that has been breached. This one that has been breached. So the day H4, if what I'm looking for comes to pass, this is something that I'm expecting. Right, H4, H1. Yeah, the slow hanging fruit here. Right. This is what I would want to see. But of course, you wait for the pattern to tip its hand here. You just don't um, go in just as I did here. At least you've learned from my mistake, right? You learn from it. That's why I'm recording this. That's why I'm putting it out there. So you learn from it here. Wait for the pattern to turn bullish and then you can hop on. This would be a very nice short-term target. Also, remember tomorrow is Thursday, so you might want to be as nimble as you can. Right. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time. If this was any helpful, consider liking, subscribe to the channel, and also share if you want to. See you either this weekend for um, the week's review and also the forecast for the incoming week. Bye.